We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. The foundation leads the fight. The warriors lead the tribe. When the beat drops and the spirits rise, we find the truth behind the disguise. They want us to go away, only our hearts do we obey. The foundation leads the fight. The warriors lead the tribe. When the beat drops and the spirits rise, we find the truth behind the disguise. They want us to go away, only our hearts do we obey. No ranks, no chains, just unity. One tribe, one light, one destiny. No ranks, no chains, just unity. One tribe, one light, one destiny. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. No ranks, no chains, just unity. One tribe, one light, one destiny. No ranks, no chains, just unity. One tribe, one light, one destiny. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Great to see everyone on this wonderful weekend across the country. The weather is spring. Spring is here, and we hope you're experiencing that where you are. Welcome back to the Grunt Style Foundation live stream every Friday at noon. And I am very lucky today to be joined by Tim Jensen from Grunt Style Foundation, as well as Kit Maxwell from Zen Horse, the equine therapy partner of the Grunt Style Foundation. So very, very happy to have you all join us today as we're able to walk through this episode, and we're going to dive deep into equine therapy, Grunt Style Foundation Integrations Retreat, as well as the big Nashville Country Concert for Grunt Style Foundation coming up, and upcoming Irreverent Warriors events. We're also going to touch on some of the Irreverent Warriors events that just occurred. So we might as well jump into that first. We are going to jump right into the DC night hike. And we will put some video up on the screen. And this screen is turned off right now. But we are going to put the video up on the screen. And we've got something very interesting in that video that you're probably not prepared for, and that is a head shaving, which is very rare, almost as rare as our belly flop contests, but we do have them. And what we do from time to time is interesting things in order to raise money for Irreverent Warriors. And one of those things that we are doing is shaving. And so into that, the DC night hike is always hike. Of course, there's 2 DC hikes a year, as most of you know. The night hike in the spring and the day hike in the fall. And this one that we're talking about is the night hike that just occurred. It happens during the Cherry Blossom Festival in Washington, D.C. Have either of you ever attended the Cherry Blossom Festival?
No.
It sounds like, I get to go see some cherry blossoms. What is that even, right? Like the first time I was told about it, I was like, that sounds kind of ridiculous. But then I saw the cherry blossoms. It was basically trees, giant trees that turn into flowers. You know, it's hard to explain, but the whole tree is like a giant flower. And then it happens all the way around like the memorials, you know, in DC. So gorgeous, wow. Beautiful. But we'll show some footage from that DC hike, and we'll talk through it a little bit. But this year's was absolutely phenomenal. The Capitol Police and the Monument Police, the Park Police, there you are. You're seeing it right there on the screen, but a fantastic turnout. I think it was close to 300 folks again, and just a fantastic event. We get to go to all the memorials, and we have them to ourselves. So we went to all the different war memorials, you know. There you see at the reflection pool. You get to go around and interact, and when the evening hits, everybody puts on their glow gear. So we've got the glow sticks, the glow gear, you know, walking with the sign, letting everybody know what's going on. And then to raise funds, the local coordinator, Kim of Washington, D.C., did a head shaving. And so she allowed her head to be shaved into a mohawk, and she raised $1,000 for Irreverent Warriors. So
Kim is fantastic.
Yes.
I absolutely love her.
Yes, and she's absolutely hilarious. She's got a fantastic team up there as well. So thank you to everybody that came to be a part of that, and great job, Kim, on raising $1,000 for Irreverent Warriors.
Well done.
Yes, absolutely. And then next we wanted to jump into Jax Beach, Florida. Jax Beach, Florida had a fantastic hike. The hike at the beginning, they were invited to go to the Go Ruck headquarters where they did competitions and exercises. They did a bunch of CrossFit type of contests and experiences. There you go. You see it right there. That's at the Go Ruck building, and they were able to do all these competitions, and people won things. People won a bunch of really cool things. And then the weather started getting really crazy, and wind and a bunch of crazy weather that for some reason when we do a Silkies hike on the beach, there seems to be a lot of you're trying to fly your flag and you're fighting against the wind kind of a situation. And you would think, oh man, terrible weather, that's horrible. I was at a Florida hike last year that just got drenched in rain. And did we stop hiking? No. In fact, the local coordinators bring little ponchos.
Every time I do the Chicago hike,
Yeah.
it rains.
Yeah.
Like it goes without saying, and it seems like it's always the last miserable miles, right? Where it's like coming down Lakeshore Drive on that concrete, and like you're like, oh man, I just want this to be over, and then the storm comes, and it's like, yeah. And the first time the Chicago coordinator, I'm surprised he's still alive because he was drinking runoff water coming off of the highway. Like, guys, like we're all gonna die. That's it's disgusting.
That sounds very IW.
Yes, very much.
Yeah, well, the good thing about the weather is it forces everybody at the end of the hike to bond together and have that camaraderie. And then also years later, you're like, last time I saw you, we were trying to get through the snowstorm together, and it makes it very memorable.
Yeah.
Very memorable. So thanks to everybody in the hike team there in Jack's Beach. You all did a phenomenal job, and thank you so much. The other hike that happened was in the San Antonio area. That was the New Braunfels hike. I know Janae from the Grunt Style Foundation and a bunch of other folks showed up, and you're seeing the footage here. That also had close to 300 people, I believe. And one of the cool things they did during this hike is that there was actually a veteran that was isolating, and we knew that he was isolating, and he was a friend of the hike team, and they tried to get him to come to the hike, and he didn't want to come to the hike because he was too busy, too tired, and all that. So what the hike element did is all 300 people went to his house. They knocked on the door, had his wife wake him up from his nap, from his night shift, and then made him come out, put on his silkies, and join the hike, and then complete the rest of the hike. And so I felt like that was a really cool thing that Ed and Matt did, where they basically said, hey, we're going to go and actually be what we're about, and we're going to show it on, and they live streamed it. So that was fantastic. But that was a really good hike. And then jumping into what we have coming up tomorrow, we've got 3 fantastic hikes. If you're within driving distance, please consider going to the Big Indiana hike. That's going to be tomorrow in Vincennes, Indiana, not too far from Indianapolis. It is phenomenal. The LC there, Stacy, puts her whole heart in it. She's got a fantastic team with Thad and everybody else that come out and support and have a fantastic full day planned out there, including a meet and greet tonight and a brunch on Sunday. We've also got Emerald Coast, so if you're anywhere near Destin, Pensacola, Gulf Shores, or Panama City, please head to the Emerald Coast hike. We've got Nate and Anna down there. They have a fantastic day all planned out, and of course that one's going to include the beach. So to your point, Tim, it's probably going to include some shitty weather, but we will all bond and have camaraderie over that, so feel free to come out.
It's a shared suck.
Yes, it's a shared suck. And then we also have Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. And Crystal, who's in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, has done a great job of building community over the past 5 years there in Jacksonville. And she has a really crazy hike lined up with tons of different experiences and contests and things. So if you're in the Camp Lejeune area, please come check us out.
I need to go to that one.
I'll go with you.
Last time I was at Lejeune is when we started the Grunt Style Foundation, and we opened we opened it up right there at the front gate, man.
Oh,
and
cool.
I was talking shit about it because of all the food insecurities that were happening at Lejeune during that time, right?
Yeah.
And it was cool, but the place didn't change much,
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, but I'd love to go back to Jacksonville, like the beach. I spent
Wilmington.
most of my time out the back gate in Sneed's Ferry.
Wilmington, yeah, beautiful. Last time I was stationed there was 2013, 2014. And I just don't drink the water, Tim.
Yeah. I got kidney stones from that.
That doesn't surprise me. And then on the 18th, we've got Atlanta. If you're anywhere near the southeast, and we've got San Francisco. If you're anywhere out on the West Coast, make it out to San Francisco. Both fantastic teams, and they have fantastic hikes planned. But another huge event that we've got coming up that I really want to get on your radar and talk about, I know we've hit it on a couple of other live streams, but now we've got Tim in the studio, so I want to talk to him about it, and that is the Nashville Grunt Style Foundation Country Concert for Memorial Day. Tell us all about it, Tim. What are you excited about?
Yeah, man. On May 25th in the Nashville area, so if you are in the Tennessee, Nashville area or surrounding, you want to get your boot down to Nashville. But starting at 6 p.m., we're having a very awesome evening celebrating the 250th anniversary of our country.
Oh, yeah.
Kicking off the summer, right? That is the summer kickoff there. So we're opening it up with a great celebration towards our country, celebrating all the lives of our friends and family that have gone on before us in defense of our country. And in doing so, bringing some attention to the topics that we really put a lot of our focus in at the Grunt Foundation, as well as Reverend Warriors Through Suicide Prevention, overprescribing. We've got a lot of great guests that are going to be joining us for that event. We got some great musical acts with Velvet Rodeo being the headliner, Savannah Ray opening up. She's been doing a lot of stuff at the Grunt Foundation for some time, so many have seen her before. We've got George Wooden, the number 3 auctioneer in the United States. He's a former Marine, and that's right. We got a little bit of a show earlier this week talking to him on the phone. He's super excited about coming out.
Does he talk slow as well, or does he only talk fast?
No, he's a good dude. He's a good dude, and he's gonna be putting on some really great stuff that we amassed for this event, and we're just trying to raise some money for the foundation, as we continue to do the work that we're doing, and
saving veteran lives.
I mean, I think we do a lot of awareness, right? And that awareness we provide is a lot different than just doing push-ups and things of that, right? It's action, it's programming, it's bringing people out of
building
isolation.
A tribe.
Yeah, that's it, right? And, it's not for everybody, but what I think the people that we are bringing, that we're attracting, the light and the darkness for many, is having some profound results, and I think it's helping a lot of people, and I think that that work needs to continue, and we're going to we have to do these things,
raise money,
right? And what we're going to do in a different way that is not some stiffy gala of sorts, but a celebration, and so we got a lot of cool things. So
tell me about some of these auction items. I know that is it true that you're going to have a street sweeper sawed-off shotgun, double-barreled shotgun that was Chuck Norris's?
Well, we've heard. Listen, that became very expensive. I was not expecting him to die. Right? It's Chuck Norris. Like, this guy's supposed to live forever, right? But since he passed away, that has become a very hot item, and we're seeing what we could do about that one.
Okay. I thought I had heard a rumor there might be a Chuck Norris gun being auctioned. Yes.
So we were looking at that. Pat Tillman jersey.
Oh, wow.
This could be available. We've got a USA 1980s jersey from the USA hockey team.
No way.
Yeah. So
connecting this win to that.
Yeah. So
bridging the gap.
A lot of cool stuff that we're going to, listen, like, we're not trying to, again, this is just something that we're trying to bring together a bunch of our people, our tribe, and bring some cool stuff that we think that they might enjoy, that they can help us reach our goals, right? And you can go to gruntsouthfoundation.org, go to the events tab. If you haven't been to the site lately, it's fantastic. We did Will and I spent a lot of time rebuilding that thing, and go to the events tab, and you can read all about it. Get your tickets there. $35 right now online, $50 at the door. So don't get caught with your pants down, and if you do, make sure you're wearing silkies. It's not going to get you any discount getting in the door, but it'll get you a head nod and a clap on the back.
That's a good discount, $20.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, right. So and then we got VIP tickets for $75 as well. So you get a bit of an experience with that. We got our partnership with Upstage bus service in Nashville. They're going to be doing some tours.
Cool.
It's pretty good. It's a party bus, man. They take the top down. You get some EDM music, a DJ, some drinks.
$75. Yeah.
$75. You ain't gonna be able to beat it.
Are you going to be on it?
Yes, I will be there the entire evolution. Trying to do my best of shaking the hands and kissing the babies and doing the thing. And
cool.
I'm super excited about it. Will and I will be actually emceeing that whole thing.
Great.
So if you've not seen Will in his best form, you will all be able to see it
Mr. Will
on
Wisner.
Memorial Day. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
I got to see that.
Yeah. So we hope that we see all of you out there, and tell your friends, tell your loved ones, tell your family. Have a good Memorial Day with us.
Yes, Memorial Day, 6 p.m., Nashville, country concert, Grunt Style Foundation. Go to gruntstylefoundation.org to check it out. And without further ado, though, we have Kit Maxwell here with us today. I'd love to jump into talking a little bit more about equine therapy. I know that you've been doing this for quite some time, and you've helped me. You've helped multiple members locally with Irreverent Warriors. You've helped several folks from Irreverent Warriors that have come to the Grunt Style Integration Retreat, as well as you came to our leadership conference last year and gave a introductory class on equine therapy to all the leadership for Irreverent Warriors. So this is something that we're very passionate about. And I'll be honest with you, the first time someone told me that a horse could help heal my mental health, I thought that they were smoking crack.
That's malarkey. That's horseshit.
Malarkey.
Yeah, literally, I was like, "That's horse shit." Like you can't have an animal. I have dogs. Like yes. Dogs provide companionship, but like they can't fix all these voices, that I've got going in my head that are driving me nuts. This labyrinth of pain that I've built in my mind. They can't help me with that. When I came out to your farm and started working with the wild Mustangs, there was something that happened there. And so I want to understand, tell me a little bit about how you fell into this, because I know that you kind of were doing therapy stuff and doing horse stuff, and then somehow they all came together, right?
Mm-hmm, definitely. Well, and Tim and I were talking earlier about how even people who grew up with horses, who did horse life kind of experiences like we have, weren't prepared to learn about how they really can help us with our nervous system regulation and our mental health and things like that. So when I learned about that, it was mind blown.
Wow.
And I'm like, that's what I want to be.
You grew up around horses, and you felt probably when you were around them, you felt some of those things, but you couldn't put it into words. Mm-hmm. And you thought maybe you were a little weird, so you kept it to yourself.
Well, then there's that.
And then you started like reading.
I thought it was my tism.
Yeah. and then you
neurospicy.
Yeah. And then you started reading, I guess, some science type stuff that was like, wow, this is a real thing.
Yes. Yeah, I think anybody who's owned horses or been around horses feels, there's a connection. There's some kind of way that you feel. But then the science also is coming out to support that something biological is happening at the same time. So to answer your question, how I got there was I had grown up with horses, so I had a horse background. But then later in life, I discovered that you could do a life coaching thing with horses. And I'm like, wait, what? That's amazing. So that was my first foray into actually learning how they could change how we approach life and change relationships and things. And I thought, okay, I want that. So I started that 10 years ago. And very quickly, one of my colleagues said, hey, why don't you quit pretending you don't have a degree in therapy, in counseling, and help people with trauma? And I thought, let me look, what would that look like? So I started the research, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's actually a depth of connection here with the somatic, with the nervous system, with the horses, science. I'm like, yes, sign me up. That's what I want to do with my life. So that's how it all unfolded. And the Mustangs got in there as well. But that's how it came together. When I went out for that very first life coaching experience, that's where I interacted with the horses differently than I ever had. And really, it clocked a pattern that I do with people, because the way we do anything is the way we do everything. Mm-hmm. So we're going to show up with those horses exactly as we do in our human relationships. And that's going to give us some really useful information. And to kind of circle back, that's also where it's different than dogs. Like, dogs can be very therapeutic. Dogs can also sync heart rates with us, and in that capacity as horses do. But
so horses can sync heart rate with you? Tell me more about that.
Yeah. So the Heart Math Institute wanted to look at the people who have talked about, I always feel better when I hang out with my horse. And they're like, well, is there science behind that? Is something really biological happening? So they did a study where they strapped heart monitors to the participants and to the horses. And what they found was, first of all, as humans, our electromagnetic bubble is about 8 to 12 feet. And for a horse, their bubble is about 50 feet. So if we keep that in mind, what they found is once a human entered overlapping electromagnetic bubbles, so I'm in a appropriate range, that the heart rate variability of the human increased. And heart rate variability is really, really important when we look at restoring the nervous system from trauma patterns. So I won't bore you with the science. We can talk about that later, but heart rate variability is very important.
Okay.
So they found that just getting in proximity with the horses improved or increased the heart rate variability and lasting, not just when they were with the horses.
No way.
And then
I feel that. I felt that before, but I could never describe that.
right, what's changing? What's happening? Yeah.
Because it's so somatic. It's so subconscious.
Yeah. That's I think the way I explained it for myself was, I've always just felt comfortable around horses. That's it. Like I never thought I had a connection or anything like that. I just felt comfortable around them, and I was always wondering, like, I don't know why that person's struggling so hard, like with their horse. Why is that doing it that way, or like why is it responding to, blah 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 blah. And there's a lot of ignorance there, right? Of just not knowing how these animals operate within their the way that they exist. It was just a comfortability factor for me. I was like, I walk up to it and, just don't stand behind it and, stay within its eyesight. And if you do those things, you're generally going to be in good relations with the horse. That's all I ever operated under. And I just felt really comfortable with it. But it wasn't until I had an experience later in life, maybe a couple of years ago, that I realized, like, wow, there's something more here. It was really creepy, and like how that all came to be. But it was like it changed the way I perceived it all.
Hopefully creepy good.
Oh yeah, very much so. Very much so.
Yeah, life-changing. Working with the Mustangs at your farm was life-changing for me. I got to work with a horse throughout the course of a week on the IW Grit Camp retreat in Texas, and build a relationship with a horse day after day after day, and build trust and a bond. And when we said goodbye to each other, I cried. So yes, I built, but you were saying about the variability and how that helps with the nervous system.
Yeah. So to finish that thought, and then I'd like to hop back to what we just talked about if we can, hopefully, because it'll fall out of my old lady brain. So you guys got to hang on to that for me.
Sure.
But to finish that line of discussion, what they found out was when the participant then moved in and actually engaged in an activity with the horse, like grooming or petting or doing something like that the heart rates actually synced.
Yeah, we're actually showing you at work here.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah, this is you at the Grunt Style Foundation Annual Integration Retreat. This year it's happening September 18th.
Look at me.
Outside of, there you are. This year it's happening September 18th outside of St. Louis, Missouri. So if you're interested, please go to the Irreverent Warriors website or the gruntstylefoundation.org website, and you will see the integration retreat for September 18th. And we do Lakota sweat lodges, we do cold plunges, we do breath work, guided meditation, plant medicine education, and equine therapy.
This was a fantastic event. I can't remember if this was the first or the second one.
It was this past year.
This past year, yeah. We had, I think it was about 500 people come rolling through that. And, of all mixed varieties of people, right? We had a lot of veterans, we had a lot of first responders, we had a lot of people that were just really interested in hearing about, like, what the hell is this Grunt Style Foundation thing doing out in the at the park, right? Like a sweat lodge, So there's a lot of curiosity, but I think what people left with was a lot more information than what they had coming in. And sitting, the people that were engaging with Zen Horse and what you guys had going on there, it was fantastic to see so many waves of people just flowing through and having that moment to where they go out and I think what you do is really great in introducing the people that on their own terms to the horse, right? To let them come in and greet the horse how they want to, and you're just nudging them along and pointing out, like, hey, you should be asking about the way that they're engaging with it and try it this way. And then the horse responds and the person's like, oh my God.
It's very important. The way Kit does things is to make it's trauma-informed care, which is your background. And it makes so much sense. You have to meet people where they are and allow them to feel safe first. And then you can push them out of your comfort zone. And I've seen you do that so many times, is meet people where they are, make them feel safe, make them feel comfortable, and then push them out of their comfort zone, or allow them to empower them to push themselves out of their comfort zone, right?
It's one of the things I found that actually inspires people to want to try to get in their body a little bit. So it's circling back to the dogs. One of the differences between working with the horses and the dogs is that when we're out of our body, which we are quite a bit when we've been through traumatic things, we know that we need to be in our body to heal, but when our body hasn't been a safe place to be, it sometimes loses that allure, right? To even want to try. But the horses won't come to us when we're out of our body. So they're giving us that instant biofeedback in the moment. They don't judge because they don't have story. But when we're not in our body, we're kind of invisible. So they're like, well, I'm just going to be over here. So if we want that connection, we want that horse to come to us, I've found that the people that I work with get really inspired to at least want to try, like for a minute, like, well, can I at least see if I can feel something in my body, or maybe focus on my solar plexus or my heart space for just a minute and just see how that feels. And the horse goes, oh, hey, and comes right to them. And they're like, oh, and then they pop out of their body and the horse walks away. And then like, oh, but wait, I want to try that again. And so they say, it's the first time I wanted to even try because I wanted that horse to come to me.
Is when you say in the body, is that another kind of way of saying being fully present? Or keep describing that for me. Use some different words for our listeners to kind of get a better, because I think some of us, only when I'm like in a cold plunge tank or in the heat of a really hard workout like I was this morning, I'm fully in my body. I'm feeling everything, doing everything when I'm doing yoga. And even when I'm doing yoga, half the time my brain starts going on some thought of some email I'm supposed to write, or some person I failed to call back a week ago, and it starts bugging, whatever your brain starts running, right? So describe to me more about getting, in your body.
There's that headspace, number one, of like, I could just be in a lot of story and a lot of, churn and burning there up in my headspace. So that's the beginning of a disconnect. But when we've been through traumatic events, whether it's in our childhood or, in the military experiences and things, we often dissociate, right? So we leave the body entirely, so to speak. So that kind of spacey feeling that you can have where you're like, I'm here, but I'm not really here. And if I said, can you feel your feet? And you're like, nope. So some people can actually not even feel the parts of their own body because they're kind of hovering around near it.
Oh. Wow. Okay. And these are all things that are talked about in the trauma space?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And then, my experience was we brought a bunch of IW folks, a bunch of veterans out to Zen Horse, and we did the meditation with the horses, and the horses came to us and connected to us, kind of like what you were describing. Is that what you have in mind for your programming? Is that the way you guys are evolving?
There are a couple of different kinds of programs. So one is our men's meditation circle. We also have one for women as well. Right now we're doing separate spaces because they said that the women would kind of like to share things differently. So that's what's working for them.
Yes.
In our meditations, we also have singing bowls. And so what we're doing there is just simply nervous system regulation, where we're trying to help a person drop into their body and get that nervous system healed a little bit in a more gentle approach. So in the circle, what we experienced the last time we did one in our most recent group, like the horses would not come to any of those people at all because no one was in their body. So the horses were like out to lunch. So Tiffany, who is with the Sound Vortex, and she does a lot with veterans and first responders, she was doing the bowls and she was watching the horses. And so she's like, no one's in their body. So she's playing that root bowl and she's playing the heart bowl and she's doing those.
And this is for our listeners to understand, when you say, hey, we go and we're going to sit with these horses, and a lot of folks will say, I don't know how to meditate, or meditation's not for me. Actually, we hear from the veteran community a lot. Oh, I tried to do that one time. I tried tried to sit like Buddha and think these happy thoughts and zen out, and I couldn't do it. So meditation's not for me. They've just made this kind of snap decision that meditation's not for me and I'm never going to try it again. And I was one of those people. And then when I went to a meditation that had this kind of sound bowl stuff, the frequencies somehow calmed those voices down, and the voices dissipated, all the different competing parts of me in my head, they dissipated, and somehow those frequencies were able to get me to a kind of an empty cup, an empty chalice, if you will, kind of state. Is that what you're describing here?
100%.
Yeah, no, that is fantastic. I think that's really smart.
I wonder what it'd be like if you were to do like equine therapy on a gram of mushrooms. That would be amazing.
I think it would.
Because you'd be like, you're in a heart space already, right?
Yeah.
You connect with that horse. I'm not like saying like get on a horse and go ride like 6 miles, right?
Maybe not for the liability of the riding, but definitely, the rest of it for sure.
Right. I mean, there would be some massive connection there. Because, I say that, but one of the first times I really connected with a horse in the way that we're talking about here was at a place down in Texas. It was with a group of people. They bring us to this stall. There's about 6-7 horses in there, and we had to go find our horse, right? And it's a massive pavilion, so you have to cross 50 yards before you even where all the horses are. And everybody's going to their they're like, oh, I found the horse, and everybody's kind of walking that direction. And this one horse just like picks me and just starts walking at me. I'm like, what the hell is going on here, right? And he comes right up to me, puts his face right into my chest, starts nuzzling on me. I'm like, what is happening? And this whole thing just starts happening, like more and more. I learned that the horse's name is Odin, and I'm like on this spiritual thing of like my roots and stuff. I'm like, oh, this is stupid. But like everything started falling into place, and like that connection that I had, and it was like 3 hours we had with that horse, was unlike anything I've experienced with a horse up into that moment in time. And now, when I was with the horse with you, it was the last 2 times, like, man, I can go in there and just work with anything. I'm like, this is so awesome, like blah blah blah, and help other people to get past their own inhibitions of just connecting, in the moment, right, being present. That's really the crazy part of it.
Well, and then now we're starting another layer. So we've started the pilot. So we're ready to identify the people who'd like to be in the next cohort of, we call it Valor and Voice. And this is a different approach with Mustangs and to healing. So with this program, we will choose 4 people in the cohort, given priority to veterans and first responders, and then partner them with an unhandled, ungentled, untouched wild Mustang, like truly still in its wild, untouched form. And so we'll go together to a holding area. They'll get to choose their partner, and we'll bring their partner back to our place. And then we will teach them to gentle and train their Mustang, hopefully with the intention that they'll be able to adopt and keep their partner.
Oh, I'll enjoy it.
That's it's not a priority, but I mean, we would love it. It doesn't have to happen, but that's what we would love to see, is that you keep your partner. But that's next level, because as I mentioned, I spoke to a lovely man named Rocky on Monday who is in a similar program in Arkansas, and now he's running that program.
Wow.
But so when he started 4 years ago, he described his situation. He mentioned, after being in Afghanistan for quite a while, that he came back and he was not okay at all. And he said, I couldn't care about anyone. I didn't care about my children, and I couldn't care about, because I couldn't even have had this conversation with you or engaged with you to even talk about this at the time. So I was pretty much going to live in my basement. And he said, I had tried other therapies and nothing had cracked it. Nothing had done anything for me. So somehow he gets roped into going into the Mustangs, because he didn't even want horses or like horses, but some, wife and daughter, and we're like, go to the horses, Dad. So somehow he gets in there, right? And the way that he described it, he said, I don't have any experience in, trauma therapy or Mustangs or whatever. But what he described was everything you could learn if you went to go study it because he lived the life experience. So he said he walked in, and because he was then in this controlled environment with this very terrified wild animal who immediately went up to the flight level of activation, so did he. And so he said it was the only experience that had taken him back to that same place at the level of where the trauma pattern had been laid down.
Okay.
So what happens with these trauma situations with people is we can have really traumatic experiences and not be traumatized if the body gets to complete the cycle, right, of the trauma release.
Sure.
But a lot of times that doesn't happen because it's not able to happen. But when we can get to that high...
we have to shove it down, bottle it up, and just get through the situation by faking it, kind of.
Yes, and stay,
Yeah.
right? The body wants to run or it wants to do, and you're like, that's not an option. I've got to complete the whatever I'm doing here, right? So that the cycle gets stuck. And what is incomplete repeats. So the body's going to keep trying to complete that cycle or kind of wedge you in there. So when you can have an experience that is in a safer container, similar to that same level, but have it end differently, then the body can complete and release the trauma that is held there. And that's exactly what he described, although not in the therapeutic terms that I was telling you in. He's like, I was standing there and I felt myself get activated and that horse was activated. He goes, but I had to be present and I was hyper alert and the horse was hyper alert and we were aware of each other. And he's like, and then we came down together. And then that happened over and over and over throughout his training and gentling of the horse. And he said, it changed my life.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it sounds like it saved his life.
I think so. And now he has like 12 of them. Sorry, they're
12
like potato
horses,
chips.
yeah.
You can't
Yeah,
get to have
geez.
just one.
Oh, man. Well, my wife is a dog collector, so I don't know if that's
I'm
going
learning a lot of things today.
Yeah, because Tim lives, my family has a cattle ranch about an hour from here, and you said you have a property a couple hours from where you live.
Yeah.
So it's all probably in the future, maybe retirement age though, maybe not today with young kids, maybe not with the young kids.
I don't know.
You know,
I don't know.
yeah,
My
yeah.
kids are older, man.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. I was going to ask you, are you coming to the integration? You're doing the Grunt Style Foundation integration retreat
Absolutely.
in
Yeah, we would
September?
never miss it. We love you
Fantastic.
guys.
And I had a question for you about that. So if you could do whatever you wanted there, no budget, no time frame, if you could do whatever for, if we brought 200 vets in for a 3-day period, what would that look like? Like what would you even do if you were able to just make it all equine therapy the whole time? What would that vision look like? Like, do you even have a concept for how you would want to structure that? Or would each person be able to just, like what he was describing, go out, pick a horse from a group, work with that horse for a couple of days? Or do you think maybe it might be more beneficial for them to just watch other people work with horses? Or how would you structure that?
Great question. I would want to be able to offer a few different slices as well. So I would want to do the round pen sessions where we do the one-on-one like we do in the demo, but also a larger group where you could go out with more than one horse, and because that's a different kind of interaction and regulation, and be able to do some meditation circles there with the bowls and we'd make a bigger container where we could have people experiencing that way.
Okay.
And then there would be some that would just want to watch. Because with no experience with horses, they're 1,200-pound animals, and it's not silly to be thinking that's a big animal that could step on me, and I don't, So you can learn as much by watching in many ways as you can by experiencing it, and then maybe get the confidence to want to go ahead and try it with us. But yeah, I want to show them many of the different access points, and then invite as many to come and participate as wanted to.
Yeah, great. Yeah, no, I love that idea. That's a vision we're going to put out there and see what the universe does with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd like to tack on then, if we're going to put it to the universe, can I get a horse instead of a go-kart this year, or like a golf cart?
You
Ride from camp to camp.
You ride around on a horse. Yeah. You could be like Ulysses S. Grant.
Yes, of course. Just, overlooking the troops.
Love it. Love it. Well, Kit, thank you so much for coming out and talking to us about this on the podcast today. So many people out there are interested in equine therapy, but they don't know how to engage, whether they're in Georgia or California or North Dakota. We've got people that are coming in from everywhere. Is there a good resource you would throw out there of an association or a group or something where you can go kind of find something in your area? Obviously, we can all Google or use ChatGPT to say, hey, who does equine therapy in my area? But was there any other ideas you had?
That's a great question. I don't really know of a central resource that can lay it out because, again, there's so many different styles that might suit different people.
Yeah.
So
how can they learn about the styles?
I was just going to say, if they want to contact me, I'm happy to just walk them through, even if they're in a different state, to kind of say, what am I looking for to help them narrow their search down to see who's local for them.
Yeah.
But then maybe we need to think about creating some kind of tool that helps them do that. That's a really great idea, Hugh.
Well, this is the guy that knows how to build platforms right here. This is your IT guy right here.
Okay. I mean, that's a really great point.
That's not a bad project.
It is not a bad project, and it would take you about 3 hours to do the whole thing beginning to end. But what is your email at Zen Horse if people want to reach out to you?
Kit at zenhorse.org.
Awesome. Kit@zenhorse.org. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. It's good to see you guys again.
Absolutely. Yes. And Tim and I are grateful for you to be here. And I wanted to, again, go ahead and close with letting everybody know what we got going on. Tomorrow, the big Indiana hike, Vincennes, Indiana. Stacy, Thad, and team are going to be leading a fantastic hike there. Emerald Coast, Destin, Pensacola, Gulf Shores, Panama City. If you're in any drivable with any of those areas, please come out to Emerald Coast. Anna and Nate have a fantastic hike planned. And then Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. We've got Crystal and her team out there bringing everybody in from the North Carolina region, and that is always a crazy hike. I think they're looking at almost 400 people this year, so that is going to be possibly hike of the year.
Wow,
hike of the year at Camp Lejeune. That's right. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Have a wonderful weekend, and, have fun and stay safe. So thank you, and thank you to Tim and Kit. Peace.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.